start the meeting officially, but we are in need of a quorum since we are doing the official adoption of a policy. So to those of you who are tuning in, I'm guessing a lot of people won't tune in for this exciting meeting. Just stay tuned, but to all of you on the Climate Council, thank you so much for being here. We're gonna be texting a few others, just trying to get ourselves up to the magic number of 18. Kate Dempsey has asked for a new panelist link, Cassie. She is trying to join us.
Okay, I will send that right now.
Can you see the number? Can you show it to us on the screen?
I can.
Ooh.
That
Getting close.
includes -2
Okay.
for myself, and we may have some co-chairs tuning in,
Great.
but I think we are inching up there.
Great. Can you possibly just show us everybody on the screen, Kathy, so we can see it?
Yes, I'd be happy to stop sharing.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Commissioner Loisem and I are in this, we're the tiny people in this conference room in Augusta representing the in-person portion of this meeting. And we are almost at 18 official Climate Council members to get us to a quorum. So we'll just give folks, it's only 1:33, so give folks another minute or two, and hopefully this will be short and sweet. So again, thank you for tuning in.
I think we're there.
Well, we have two staff. Oh, I see Commissioner Camuso.
I got us at 17.
Melanie is taking the official count. She's better at counting carbons and quorums.
Well, there's a few people that I'm not sure who counts and who doesn't.
Seems like 18. We're at 18.
Great.
And actually we're at 20 because of the lovely presents.
Oh, yes.
I was
Reach
counting
for
us. There we go.
Great. And just to be clear, there are several agency representatives who do officially are here as the designees of their commissioners, so they do count. You all count. So I'll just quickly, we won't do full introductions today, but just remind folks of the purpose of the meeting and get Melanie to help me. So again, my name is Hannah Pingree. I'm the director of the Governor's Office of Policy, Innovation, and the Future, and you are here for an official meeting of the Maine Climate Council. I will just ask Commissioner Loisem to introduce herself, and we'll go quickly to the agenda and not take up a lot of your time because we have a far more substantive meeting planned for next week.
Good afternoon. I'm Melanie Loisem, DEP Commissioner and Maine Climate Council Co-Chair, and just want to check on how we're doing for the audio. Is this level of volume okay for folks? Thank you.
Great. We're doing a test run in the Department of Health and Human Services very nice conference room with great health and safety and ventilation and AV services. So we may use this room for some of our future meetings, but the point of this meeting today is actually to allow official hybrid and remote meetings. And we've been advised by the Attorney General's office that now that the emergency is no longer in effect, we need to adopt a very specific policy to hold official meetings in a hybrid or remote form. And hopefully everyone saw both publicly on our website, posted to your meeting invite, and in other ways, an actual copy of the proposed Maine Climate Council remote and hybrid meeting policy. So again, this has been drafted to allow us to have meetings where folks like Jeff Saucier calling in from Aroostook County can participate remotely when he chooses to in an official capacity during times like this. Continued public health challenge. Hey, Jeff, we will be able to do it entirely remotely. So again, Melanie and I are here in person representing the in-person portion of the meeting, and we are basically hope you've all seen the policy, but I'll just kind of open it up very briefly for comments or questions on the policy, and then we'll move forward to approval, and then this meeting will be done. Melanie, you have done this in several other agencies recently, so I don't know if you want to make any comment just to kick us off.
I don't. I would just emphasize what Director Pingree has said, is that this has been developed in consultation with the Attorney General's office. The terminology that's been selected is to be consistent with the legislation that passed this session, allowing for boards and commissions to conduct meetings remotely and through hybrid means. So for instance, remote means and remote meeting are terms of art now for the state of Maine. And we've tried to provide adequate flexibility in this policy to best support the work of the Climate Council, so that we'll be able to work under either in-person, hybrid, or fully remote circumstances.
And I just also add that this, as you can see, is for our council itself, but it also applies to our working groups and subcommittees. So it is meant to guide all of the work. We are more the official group that makes decisions. So it's most important that this governs our work. But again, it will apply to the working groups and subcommittees. Ken Coburn.
Thanks, Hannah. I just have one thought on some of the language. The overall intent and direction I completely agree with, but I know you and also Dan depend on me for being a pain in the butt on editing stuff, so I didn't want to let you down. Under section 2, definitions, remote means, fourth line, it cites between the public and council members. And that seems too limiting to me because it suggests only that route as opposed to also among council members. And so I thought maybe saying between and among the public and council members, and at least as far as it goes between the public communicating with the council, my sense is that that should be the public communicating with the council, not necessarily with individual council members. So perhaps that little phrase ought to be reviewed for its applicability. But that's just my, as I said, pain in the butt suggestion. Nothing wrong with the overall intent or direction. Thanks.
Ken, do you want to suggest an amendment?
It could perhaps just be as simple as facilitates interaction among council members and between the public and the council.
Any comments or concerns with Ken's friendly wordsmithing to just further clarify the purpose, which is to allow us to discuss policy publicly with each other and hear from the public and have dialogue with the public? I think that's what you're wanting to clarify is allowable.
Yep.
You can feel free to unmute yourself and shout out if you want to comment or have concerns about Ken's friendly amendment or any other comments or questions. Anything else? I'm seeing no hands up, but feel free, if you don't know how to do that, just unmute yourself and shout out. It's a highly polite and group though.
Anna, it's Elaine. I think that when we vote on that amendment language, that it might want to say, there might want to be some language saying that if the intent, if the Attorney General's office thinks that the language to convey that intent is different, that we're giving them authorization to fix it. You know what I mean? Because Ken has established what the intent is, and I think he's totally right. But if some tweaking needs to happen, that there doesn't have to be another meeting.
Great. I think that's a good suggestion, and we can approve it with Ken's intent. We will send everybody before our formal meeting next week, the final policy. So if there is some major concern, we will bring it back to this group, but I think we can still tentatively approve it with his comment. The reason we're doing it this week is so that we can officially meet next week under this policy. All right, I think what we understand from the Attorney General's office is we do not have a roll call voting policy. We have operated as a climate council by folks. They certainly can tell us when they are not in favor of something, and we note that opposition. We were able to approve the plan in a unanimous way with consensus. Again, if there's any disagreement, we note that and note the number of people who are in disagreement. So our policy is going to be to move approval of the policy, and we will note anyone who is not in favor. Melanie, did you want to make that motion?
I move for approval of the policy as amended by Member Colbert.
Is there a second? Ken Coburn? Ken, you're muted. Did you second it?
Yes, yep. I raised my hand.
General Farnham and Ivan were also willing to go. Were any of those hands, so now for any other comment? Any other questions or comment? All right, so in absence of a roll call, is there anyone in disagreement with the adoption of the policy as moved by Commissioner Loisem and seconded by Ken Coburn? You can speak now. You can raise your hand, unmute yourself. You can comment in the chat. All right. Give folks another 30 seconds. It appears unanimous. Is there any other questions or comments to come before the Maine Climate Council? Again, just reminding you all, we have a substantive meeting scheduled for next week in which we will talk about the work of the Maine Climate Council and what's happening. So we have approved our remote and hybrid meeting policy, and as suggested by Elaine, and we will ensure the Attorney General's office is fine with our tweak and bring back the final policy, not for approval, but just to ensure it is good. And if there are any concerns, we'll make sure to let the Climate Council know, and we can consider it again. Representative Thorne.
Just wondering if you had a date and time set for next week.
Cassie, I'm gonna get you to remind us all.
Yeah, hi, Representative Thorne. Yes, you should have a calendar invitation already from you. You should also have a panelist invitation from Zoom, but I'd be happy to resend that to you.
It's next Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Apologies, it's next Wednesday at 9 a.m.
And I apologize, Representative Thorne. I do understand the legislature is also scheduled to meet that same day, hopefully not at that same time. So this
Well,
meeting
there will be a caucus prior to the session, so I anticipate that being a conflict, but should be just for me. Maybe Representative Bloom, although I won't speak for her.
Well, we're sorry about that. We will just say you've seen the agenda for that meeting, and it is a lot of updates on what's happening in our work, and we'll make sure that it is recorded and keep you up to date. So
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you all so much. Hopefully, thank you for 16 minutes of your time and for tuning in and helping us get a quorum. And we appreciate being able to move this forward. So thank you all. I think this brief meeting is now adjourned.
See you next week.
We're not supposed to be, we're not that official.